Hey guys, how's it going? Unfortunately, when I filmed this video, there was some issue with the GoPro mic, so I actually lost the audio. So I'll kind of be just narrating some of my thoughts and just kind of doing commentary over the install of the Mr12Volt DSP CIC wireless CarPlay retrofit. So let's get right into it. Yeah, so the kit comes with a lot of cables and a lot of connectors, so we'll kind of be just working through it throughout this video. Yeah, so pretty much with this install, we're going to be removing the center console trim here with the starting at the start button. And then we're also going to be removing the HVAC controls and also the radial, and that whole unit will come out. And there's lots of just pry tool. We're going to need a pry tool to pry out a lot of the trim, and then also we'll need to get to the iDrive controller as well. Right, so with this center trim, you're going to start from the left side and pop it out, and then kind of work through the middle, and then also you're going to pop out, go all the way to the right, and then pop out from the right, and then the full thing will come off. There's going to be two, I guess you have the push button. There's going to be two tabs as shown on screen, so you pinch those and you can pull it out. And then there's also going to be two buttons or two things that go, I think it's to the HVAC or to the vents. Yeah, they're to the vents, to the DSC, to the lock buttons as well that you're going to have to unplug. Yeah, so the HVAC controls were super easy. They're not held on by anything. You literally just push it out from the inside, and there's going to be a few clips. Yeah, like right here, you push it out, and there's going to be a few clips that have a locking mechanism. So once you flip them out, or flip them down, I should say, they'll come off. And then the bottom one, a little bit trickier to get. There's 4 screws, or not screws, but pins, I should say. And essentially, the best way I found was you take a pry tool, and you're going to stick it into the middle of the center of each side. So once you pop it in the center deep, you pop it out, it'll pop out, and then same thing on the other side, get it into the center as deep as you can and pop it out, and then that trim will come off right away. So once that trim piece is off, you'll see some screws. There just should be some regular Phillips screws, and you can just be able to pull them out. And once you pull out these Phillips screws, you're going to be able to unscrew all the things for the radial. And for the radial, for the most part, they're all push tabs. They're going to have tabs that you push in, and then you can just be able to pull out. And then I think there's one big one that's a locking mechanism similar to one of the HVAC switches as well. And that'll all come out pretty easily, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And the last thing here is just to get this last trim piece off, there's going to be T20s and also 2 bolts in the center that you need to get off, and then the rest of the trim will come off perfectly. So next thing is just to get that iDrive center console off. It's all clips, so you just need a pry tool, a trim remover tool, and pop off all the clips. And then you can see that in the center, that's where you're going to put that splitter for the Mr12Volt. So Mr12Volt will have a CIC splitter. It might be a 4 or 10 pin depending on your model. So you put it in there, and then you add the original iDrive controller. Yeah, so in the next clip here, I'm kind of just going over all the connectors for the Mr12Volt. So yeah, this one here pretty self-explanatory. It's just the power cable, and then this will tap into the iDrive controller, and this will go under the dash in the center. This cable here goes to the radial connector, so the LVDS cables. So one of them will go into the one that comes out from the car, and the other one will go to the radial. So you can see here the line out goes to the purple one connector, and the other one will eventually go into the head unit. And then we'll have the moist cable, and this one's a little bit more complicated, which I'll kind of further elaborate in another clip where I'll show you how to do the pin out for this moist cable. Yeah, so I'm going to try to kind of explain what you have to do with the moist cable. It's kind of hard to explain, but what I'm touching right now was where that green OEM fiber optic cable went. So essentially, you're going to have to clip it out. It's just a tab that you push up with a flat head, and you can pull out the OEM connector. And essentially, you're going to put this into the Mr12Volt connector. And with the Mr12Volt connector, you're going to take it out and then put it into the OEM harness. It's a little hard to explain, but if you watch Mr12Volt's video, they kind of explain it as well. But essentially, you're going to swap the OEM one to the Mr12Volt, and then you're going to take what you take out. You're going to take out that OEM one, put in the Mr12Volt harness, and then wire back to the box. So once I got everything wired up, I turned on the unit, and then I went to CD, and Mr12Volt should be CD option 2. So once I went to CD, they said there was a no distant player, and according to the forums, you had to do a little bit of coding, and they have some instructions on Bimmer code and what you had to switch. But you're going to be using NCS Expert to kind of show you what you need to do. So I didn't really screen record, but I'm not sure if you can see, but you can see that on this forums. I'll link this in the description. CDMM_changer3 has to be changed to MP3_CDC. So what I've done is you load up the CIC ECU in NCS Expert, and if you control F once you're in NCS Dummy for the module, the CIC module, you can see you have the CDMN_changer3. Sorry for this out of focus, just couldn't see what I was looking at. And then you can see there's the option mp3_cdc. So if you save that and then export the trace files, you should be able to code it. Yeah, so I have everything wired up now, recoded in that option, and it booted up perfectly fine. Apple CarPlay is working perfectly. It's smooth, it's quick, I don't mind it not being touchscreen. Just the iDrive wheel is actually quite good and it works out pretty well. So I'm gonna be running the factory mic into, not the factory mic, the mic into the sunroof here. And also going to be wiring a backup camera, but there's probably tons of video on that anyway. So I'm probably gonna end the video here, just kind of talking about, I think the connections were a little bit confusing, but once you have the unit in hand, it's not difficult to figure out. But hope this video does help anyone who has some issues or just wanted to see a video before installing their own. Thanks.